Florida's governor reassuring residents tonight help is on the way. Hurricane Ian, one of the strongest in decades, has destroyed property statewide. Good evening, I'm Mark Bullock.
And I'm Valerie Lawson. The latest from Florida in a moment, but first, Ian's next move.
Meanwhile, tonight we're getting a clearer picture of the damage left behind in Florida. So far, the death toll there has risen to at least 15.
This is a live look over Orlando, which has seen heavy rain and flooding over the last 24 hours.
Help is also on the way from electric cooperatives around the state. More than 2 million Floridians are in the dark tonight. Monet Stevens joins us live to continue our Team 12 coverage. 500 Red Cross volunteers are already in Florida tonight. 60 are from the Alabama and Mississippi regions. Mike Brown, director of Red Cross's South Alabama chapter in Mobile, says they spent today setting up long-term shelters for families who have lost everything.
Many along the East Coast are preparing for more of Hurricane Ian.
Yeah, we're back with Josh in a moment for a detailed look at Ian's projected path, what the storm may bring to the Atlantic coastline next. More than 2.5 million customers across Florida are reported to be without electricity tonight. Some counties, including Lee County, have implemented mandatory curfews and encouraged residents to avoid roadways as crews begin to assess the damage. Josh, it sounds like we will be learning for days to come just how bad this storm was.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I would point out, Sanibel Island, Florida, a very big area, very heavily populated. The causeway out to it is destroyed.
Right.
Well, that's going to do it for WSFA 12 News at 10 o'clock.
More news available at WSFA.com or on our news app. Thanks for watching.
From WSFA 12 News, this is breaking news.
You are watching continuing special coverage of today's visit by President Joe Biden to Alabama.
He landed at Maxwell Air Force Base just after noon and is now in Troy, where he is at Lockheed Martin.
The president is getting a tour right now of the Lockheed Martin facility, which has, by the way, produced more than 50,000 of those Javelin missiles since it opened back in the mid-1990s. It also employs approximately 600 people there in Pike County. WSFA 12 News anchor Sally Pitts is joining us live from that location. And Sally, we talked a little bit about how this event or this visit has been politicized by some. No Republicans have decided to join the president for his visit. This is a very large campus there in Pike County. As Sally mentioned, it is in somewhat of a rural area, but it consists of 52 buildings. And it is not just the Javelin anti-tank missile that is produced there. There are also other types of missiles that are produced there. And it appears as though we're starting to see some activity as the president is expected to make his remarks to the employees of that facility. There's Congresswoman Terry Sewell, Alabama's Democratic member of Congress, who joined the president on his trip. She was actually on Air Force One. The governor is considering a special session within this regular session to decide how to spend leftover money from the federal government that was given to Alabama as part of COVID-19 pandemic relief. And so that is something that we do expect to happen early on in the session. You mentioned that we're right outside the Old House Chamber in the rotunda of the state capitol, and Governor Ivey is actually here a little bit early. She's inside the chamber practicing with the teleprompter and getting ready for her speech. Also here with us is political reporter Aaron Davis, who is here to talk a little bit more about some of those issues, those GOP issues that we expect in the session. And she's joining us live from inside the state capitol right now. Aaron? The governor is exiting the chamber, as you can see here, and it's expected that she'll be headed back to the governor's mansion, and then she will no doubt be involved in the legislative process throughout the coming weeks as lawmakers start passing bills. Some of the things the governor talked about, one-time federal money, of course, COVID-19 pandemic relief money. She says she wants that to be used for broadband internet service in Alabama, people who don't already have access to it, water and sewage facilities, health care facilities. She says that one-time money should be used to pay down debts and add to the state's rainy day accounts. She also touted economic development in our state. Of course, the governor running for re-election, she says that we are a strong state when it comes to our economy. She says she has addressed the prison crisis, she has addressed crumbling infrastructure, and she has fought back against federal overreach. Joining us now to provide a Democratic perspective to all of this is is State Senator Bobby Singleton. Senator Singleton, thank you so much for joining us. You can count on WSFA 12 News to bring you coverage of this regular session as it moves into the coming days and weeks. Our own political reporter Aaron Davis will be at the State House every day bringing us updates. That's going to do it for our coverage of the Governor's State of the State address tonight, live from the State Capitol building in downtown Montgomery. An abbreviated edition of WSFA 12 News at 6 is coming up next.
This is WSFA 12 News at 6.
A new vision for downtown Montgomery.
The City and Chamber of Commerce today released a new point-by-point plan to grow the economy and increase tourism.
The last 20 years have seen considerable growth downtown, but city leaders say more can be done to help Montgomery compete with other Southeast tourism destinations. They call it the Envision 2040 plan. WSFA 12 News reporter Ashley Bowerman is breaking it down for us tonight. Ashley, there is a lot to talk about here. Well, some new details tonight from the U.S. military. At least one Alabama military installation is among several in the Southeast that will be getting a new name soon. Just hours ago, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin announced the upcoming changes. Now, as you know, the department has been reassessing military base names along with monuments and other paraphernalia that commemorate the Confederacy. Here in Alabama, we've learned that Fort Rucker, named for Confederate General Edmund Rucker, will now be renamed in memory of Chief Warrant Officer Michael J. Novosel Sr., who you see on your screen. Novosel, an Army pilot, was a native of Enterprise and earned the Medal of Honor for his actions in Vietnam. More new information tonight, this from the State Corrections Department, which has been struggling to respond to an inmate work stoppage in recent days. Many inmates stopped performing their assigned jobs in order to protest prison conditions. Now, according to the department, more and more of those inmates are back on the job. Strikes, however, continue at 5 male prisons across the state. It is night one of the Alabama National Fair, a nearly 70-year tradition in Montgomery. And the highlight of the first day had to be this. Watch. My co-anchor Sally Pitts is with the Sharks. She is in the water, people.
I feel great, Mark. I'm not scared at all. It's really cool in here.
That's right, our Sally Pitts volunteered to swim with these nurse sharks, which are part of the fair's daily Shark Encounter shows. It was all broadcast live during our 5 o'clock newscast. The Shark Encounter is one of many attractions at the fair this year. Here's more from Sally on some of the other big draws. Sally showed us a little of that money machine. Take a look. This is Patricia having her turn. She was the winner of our money machine contest here at WSFA 12 News. She says she walked away with $86 after all of this. Not bad, Patricia. If you're headed to the fair, you can register for a chance inside the money machine at Garrett Coliseum.
Every time I talk about ASU and I look at Val, I'm like, I shouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game.
And I want to see that ASU stadium sold out because that's a big stadium.
Huge. And you can see it driving by on the road right there. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Fever Athlete of the Week. Those guys.
Jamal's like, a little more, please.
I know.
Sometimes they get shy, then they get used to the
I
camera.
love watching the presentation, though, every week.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks, Rosie.
Josh is back for the final check of your forecast after the break.